Hey, I'm Colin Martin. It's time for another edition of Hump Day Highlight. And this week we are excited to really interview one of the great guys of Fayette County who has a great, interesting story, Hamzah Faruqi. Hamzah, welcome to Hump Day Highlight. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Colin. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are in a family business, a pretty fascinating family business called Aventure Aviation. Tell us about Aventure Aviation and what do you do there?
Of course, Aventure Aviation is an aircraft parts supplier. We supply commercial and military aircraft parts. I'd like to say we help keep aircraft in the air, which is always a good thing.
That's exactly right. And what do you do there?
I'm on the commercial department. We help supply airlines all over the world. Airlines you might fly like Delta. One of our customers is Delta Airlines. So whenever you fly a 757 or 767, one of our parts might be on there.
That's really your dad one time, who we're going to talk about in a minute, but your dad told me one time that Aventure Aviation is AutoZone for airplanes.
That is correct. And I mentioned to him I would be speaking to you today, and he said, just don't forget to mention you're the AutoZone of aviation. I was like, yes, Dad, I will mention.
That's funny. Well, your dad, who really is just a wonderful guy as well. Last year in 2019, or I guess 2 years ago now, he was our outstanding business person of the year. Literally, this was a garage business that he built from scratch, and now you all have a beautiful campus over in Peachtree City. What's it like working in a family business and working for your dad?
Well, it's great that's in Fayette County because we've created our own story. By being here, we're in a great location, first of all. It's very entrepreneurial friendly. We have resources like the Chamber that have helped us get to where we are today. But a family business, the core is family. You have to have a good foundation. You could be a brilliant businessman, but if the family doesn't get along, there's no family business. So I'm very fortunate that the foundation of my family is my parents and my siblings. We all get along. There's some easy days, some not so easy. But our dinner discussions were different at the dining table, but I'm so blessed. I can tell you, I'm so fortunate that I am where I am. I have the best people I know I work with, and it doesn't extend to my blood family, my family at work, the people we work with. We have a great team, and you know, we're so fortunate in these times that we have what we have.
Well, certainly, it's a great business, and I know it's a little challenging these days with commercial aviation being grounded, or not necessarily grounded, but not doing the business they were a year ago. But you certainly, I know you're very proud of your dad and proud of what he's accomplished and what you all are working on together. So now, besides your dad, you're married and have got a couple of kids, one of whom is fairly young.
Only the one kid. I'm not that old. I mean, I'm
Okay.
old, but I'm not that old. Only the one, and uh, he's taught me to be less selfish. I've learned that whatever I do at work, I do for him. When I get home from work, I put my phone down, put my computer away, spend time with him. And in the past, I haven't done that. When I didn't have a child, I was always working. And now I know when I get home, put everything away, have dinner with my son, take him to the park, play around with him, read books with him. I've learned that it's not about me anymore. I do for him. Anything I want to do for myself, not important. He's my pride and joy. And
That's 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 awesome.
and
That's
I'm
awesome to
lucky that
hear.
I'm lucky my wife is willing to stay at home and help raise him. So she does all the hard work. I mean, my job adventure is stressful, but I don't have a baby yelling at me 10 hours a day.
I understand that. Well, you serve on our board. You're a member of our board of directors, which we greatly appreciate. Tell us, you mentioned that being a chamber member has been a good thing. Why is being a member of the Fayette Chamber a good thing for Aventure Aviation?
Well, it opens up doors. I mean, being in the chamber means you get to know people. Like being on the chamber, I've I've been able to meet the CEO of Piedmont. I've been able to meet the school board president. I've been able to meet people like yourself. I mean, it opens doors that you can meet people, and part of networking is learning from people. What works in the area? How can I do this? How can I do that? If we're looking to expand our campus one day, by talking to somebody at the chamber, it goes a long way. Having the chamber support you goes a long way. The chamber has an aviation council, which we're a part of. It opens up doors to other companies. There are 3 companies in Fayette County that are billion-dollar aviation companies. And through the chamber, we know them. So chamber's been a great resource for us.
We appreciate you saying that. We really appreciate you saying that. Well, let's talk about, we'll wrap up here. We talk about always the 3 H's with our guests. What's a highlight you're proud of from, it could be your personal life or career? Who's a hero of yours? And I have a funny feeling who I know that is. And then what are you hopeful about in the future? So let's start with a highlight. What's something from personal life or business life that you're particularly proud of?
Well, a highlight would be the company, because family and business being the same over here. Just the fact that we're going to be 20 years old next year, and the odds of succeeding back on month 1, very slim. And when I go over the hardships, you'll understand why. The odds of succeeding were so low. And we're here. We have a great team, and it's a huge highlight, because from a garage, my mom's garage space, to where we are now, it's the American dream. I mean, it really is an American dream, and that's a beautiful thing about this country.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk about your hero. Who is your hero?
Well, it can't only be my dad. So if you can afford me like a few extra seconds,
Sure.
it starts off with my parents, because without my dad, there's no mom. So my mom really helped. I mean, she's the core of our family. She's helped my dad more than anyone I know, and the way they raised my siblings and myself. We immigrated to the States 22 years ago. We did not need to immigrate. They wanted to immigrate for us, to help give us a better life, give us opportunities. And it was so selfless of them to do something that amazing for us. And even if I go a bit further than that, some heroes of my paternal grandmother. She was born in the 1920s in India, at a time where girls were not educated, and she forced her parents to let her be educated. And she even studied with Madame Montessori back in the day. And thanks to all of that, she started a school in Pakistan in 1950 that is now 70 years old, has about 5 branches, and the thousands and thousands of children. And I'm not talking about privileged children, underprivileged children, educated. Till her last day she worked. My grandfather on my mom's side, he started a sugar factory in Pakistan back in the 50s. It's also alive to this day. And that was to help give people jobs in the community. I look at my siblings who, when you say heroes, I look at my 3 siblings who in the past few years have had different trials and tribulations, health, mental, emotional, physical. And on the outside, you would never know there was anything going on. They've always been positive. The whole family's on their faith and their work ethic. When things are great, we stay humble. When things aren't so great, we work hard, we become closer, and you would never know. So I look at the people around me, and yes, my dad's a big part of it, but I am nothing without my family, and they're my heroes because I get to see them on a regular basis.
That's awesome. Your dad told me a funny story one time that he had built a business in the garage, and finally your mom came to him and said, "Hey, look, I want my parking space back. You need to leave." And that's why.
Yes. Oh yes.
That's great. That's a great story, and it's a great family. It's a great family that you guys have. I know you all work together. Let's talk about what you're hopeful about in the future. What are you hopeful about?
Well, hopeful that a cure for COVID, obviously, so that we can all try and get back to normal. Try being a keyword. My hope is that this has been a tough lesson for everybody. That if we can get out of this, then whatever our skin color, our faith, our political beliefs, we can put those aside. We're all human. Our time on this earth is so short. So while we're here, let's put our differences aside. Let's work together. Let's be the best people we can be together. And Fayette County is a great place to do that, where people can create their stories. And it's such a nice, I've lived here now for 22 years. When I moved here, Colin, 22 years ago, I was wondering when I would get out of here because there was nothing for me at 18. But now I can't envision this is home. I can't envision going anywhere else.
That's fantastic. Well, look, I want you, not only are we glad to have Aventure Aviation here, we are glad to have the entire Faruqi family here. And
Thank
you for serving Thank you for serving on our board. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us. And we just really, really appreciate it. So
It's my pleasure, Colin. Thank you for having me.
well, folks, that wraps up this week's Hump Day Highlight. We will see you next week with another interview. Have a great week.